What's up, guys? Today I'm going to talk about the 4 steps of Jiu Jitsu. This video is primarily for beginners, people that haven't internalized exactly what the hierarchy of Jiu Jitsu is and what your goals are. And this is important because once you know these 4 steps, then you'll know exactly where you are no matter what lesson you're learning in the curriculum. You'll be able to understand what your goals are from that position and what you're trying to do. So what are the 4 steps of Jiu Jitsu? Which I obviously completely stole from John Danaher. But here's what they are. The first is the takedown, okay? So if I'm fighting somebody, right, and it's gotten past the point where I attempted to de-escalate and my de-escalation did not work, the first thing I want to do is I want to take the fight to the ground. Because when you're on the feet, right, it's a neutral situation. In other words, there's no positional hierarchy. There's no advantage to either person. Either person can do the same techniques. They can do the same punches and kicks, okay? As soon as I take the fight to the ground and I establish positional dominance, not only do I take away my opponent's ability to do many of the strikes that they could have done with a lot more power on the feet, I also enter into a positional hierarchy, right, where I am dominant. Once I'm on top, I'm starting to be dominant. I'm in a position where I can throw harder strikes than the other person, generally speaking, and I have more offensive ability than the other person, generally speaking. Second is the guard pass, okay? So when I take somebody down and they're in their guard, okay, I do have an advantage, but it's much more slight than you might think, okay? There's a lot of dangerous things that the person on bottom in their guard can do. They can upkick me, they can sweep me, they can submit me, they could also break away, stand back up, and now we're back into a neutral position, okay? So there's a lot of options that they can use, which I don't want to have to deal with. I don't want to have to deal with those dangers, right? In addition, not many submissions that I can do from the top, maybe a leg lock. But there's not many submissions I can do from the top guard, okay? I can throw strikes, I can throw hard strikes, that's true, but if I pass the guard and I establish step 3, which is the pin, that will be much better for my chances of victory. So the third step is the pin. This is probably the most important step after the takedown. I would say the takedown is first, but passing the guard and establishing your pin is really, really important, okay? Because once I've established a pin, I've basically eliminated all the offensive ability of my opponent unless they're extremely skilled and they've got some sneaky things that they can do from the bottom. But I am now on top. I can throw strikes. They can't submit me. They can't really throw hard strikes from pin positions. So I'm in a really good spot here. And if I'm fighting someone that I'm very confident I can just maintain control of this position and there's no outside threats, they don't have buddies that are trying to rush me or anything, then I have no need to progress past this step. I can just stay here, wait for the cops to arrive, etc. Now, if this situation is not that, right? Maybe they're reaching for a weapon or they have a weapon and you're trying to disarm them. Maybe they might have buddies around, right? Maybe they're really big and strong and you're not entirely confident in your ability to hold them down indefinitely. Well, you can progress towards step 4, which is the submission, okay? So you can use joint locks or chokes and strangles. And of the two, the choke and strangle is better. So the reason for that is if they're really big and strong, on drugs or just on a lot of adrenaline, right, they can continue to fight even if they have a broken arm, even if they break their shoulder, even if they break their leg, right? They can continue to fight. However, everybody goes to sleep the same way. It doesn't matter how many drugs they're on. So if I employ a choke or a strangle, I end the conflict right away, okay? Now, you may not always need to employ the submission. Remember, in most cases, when you employ a choke or a strangle, it can be considered either less than lethal or a lethal attempt to take someone's life. Now, we do that all the time in training, so that seems crazy. However, remember, most people in the legal system don't train and don't understand those things. What will help you is if you can articulate that there was a threat of serious great bodily harm towards you or to your life or to the life of other people around you, right? Because that justifies your use of force. Although, honestly, in general, if you find yourself in that situation, you shouldn't talk to the police at all. Moving on past that, though, if you can avoid using the submission, you should, okay? If you're much bigger and stronger and the person on bottom that you're pinning is no clear threat to you or others, and again, there's no outside threats, he doesn't have buddies coming in, then don't employ more force than you need to control the situation, okay? So those are the 4 steps of jiu-jitsu: the takedown, the guard pass, the pin, the submission. And for those of you guys wondering where leg locks fit into this, well, they don't, right? And so this was one of John Danaher's great points, is that anytime you fail to progress in this hierarchy, you can go for a leg lock, right? I failed to get the takedown, well, I can go for an Imanari roll or something like that. I can attempt a leg lock. I fail to pass the guard, all right, I can scoop an ankle, go for a leg lock. I'm not able to establish a pin, I can go back directionally towards the legs, and I can go for a leg lock. If I'm pinning someone and I'm unable to get an upper body submission, well, I can always go back for a leg lock, right? So anytime where the hierarchy fails, you go for legs. However, keep in mind that it's important for you guys to learn the hierarchy first and have decent, competent skills in that hierarchy first before you delve super hard into the leg locks, because you'll get into this trap where, oh, I can't progress in the hierarchy, I'm going to go for leg locks. And then your leg lock skills will be overdeveloped and your ability to progress in the 4-step process will be extremely underdeveloped, right? And you don't want to get into that trap. You want to make sure you're working those 4 skills. So those are the 4 steps. Remember, guys, if you're new, you can internalize when you're learning techniques. Hey, where does this fit into my hierarchy? Where does this fit into the hierarchy of the 4-step, move process of jiu-jitsu? It's like, okay, we're learning takedowns. That's obvious. That's step 1, right? We're learning guard passes. That's step 2. Also for defense, right? We're learning choke defense, and then we're escaping back control. Okay, so we're learning submission defense and pin escape. So we're defending against steps 4 and 3, right? This hierarchy works defensively as well. If you're in a bad position, you progress backwards to the hierarchy, right? You escape the submission, you escape the pin, you get back to your guard, and from there you can submit, sweep, or stand up, okay? So I hope you guys found this video informative. I hope this helps beginners, kind of orient you around what your goals are in jiu-jitsu. If you like the content, make sure you share it. Subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell. It's YouTube Law, guys, I have to say it, but it really does help us. I appreciate your support. I'll see you guys next time.